Welcome to a special episode of the Morbidly Made, where tonight Michael J. and I are joined by Ryan Lewis from Graveshift, Rich Style, and the one and only Vincent Paul from Rabbit and Red, as we discuss Rob Zombie. So if you've ever wondered what it'd be like if the different hosts from Devil'sEyes.com got together and discussed one thing, then just keep fucking listening.
I saw a kid jump off a balcony and smash his head wide open on the guardrail, and that was pretty gnarly because I actually saw stuff come out that probably should have stayed on the inside. Should I keep going? It's been an illustrious 25 years of death and destruction.
It was movies like Devil's Rejects and Saw and all these that made Lionsgate a big enough company to now become the company that doesn't want to make these movies anymore. It's ridiculous.
Everyone in America would have been pissed if classic Michael Myers had not arrived at some point.
Well, how did you decide?
I would have been pissed if I went to see Batman Begins and he never put the bat suit on for 2.5 hours.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
These eyes do not see what you and I see. Behind these eyes one finds only blackness, the absence of light. These are the eyes of a psychopath.
Most of all, fuck you! Goddamn motherfucker got blood all over my best clown suit!
So when we start off with Rob Zombie, everybody, we're old enough to remember Rob Zombie, the musician.
Fuck yeah.
Right.
And the music itself, I don't know about you, I first remember hearing his band back in 1994 with Thunderkiss 65, and just that riff. Zombie. And how I first heard it was as a wrestling fan growing up in Philadelphia. I was lucky enough to watch ECW every week, and that was their opening song. And I just always wanted to know who sings that song. Found out, and that's where I bought the cassette, and I really loved it. So I don't know about you. I think if we can start talking, let's first, talk about just the music itself before he got into films.
Okay.
See, my initial take on Zombie was before his album even hit. They were doing some kind of metal show. It could have been Headbangers Ball or on MTV or something like that. And Rob Zombie was there. Now, Rob Zombie was there before the release of his first album, and he was painting little cartoon caricatures on the wall, and they just pointed at him and said, "This is Rob Zombie. He's got an album coming out, and he's just visiting the show, and he was supposed to do a segment, but instead he's drawing pictures on our wall." And he was painting a bunch of cartoon cool shit that looks like, those wild breakdowns and shit that he, throws and stuff, and he was just painting that all over the walls. And then that
was definitely Headbangers Ball.
Right. And then about a month and a half later...
Background, huh?
Yeah.
Now, wasn't that back in 1993, or was it early 94?
I'm thinking late 93, actually.
Yeah, I want to say 93.
And there's
was he promoting White? He was promoting White Zombie, right?
Yeah.
That's when the band was still together.
Right.
Now, does anybody know why White Zombie broke up and he went, the solo act?
I heard tales of the bassist first, Sean Yazel. She left the band because she hooked up with some guy from another band, and she ended up leaving. And then the other guitarist ended up leaving, so he just said fuck it and started his own thing.
I actually think he did better going out on his own. I mean, White Zombie does have some classic hits, but I think Rob has more by himself.
I totally agree.
And
Look
another
at
thing,
Hellbilly Deluxe CD. That right there, the whole CD's a classic.
that's a lot of people's favorites. And I wanted to bring this up, and this is going to be a theme throughout this whole show. Rich, about a week and a half ago, Rich told me, he said, it's good that I'm on here for this segment because, Rich, did you not claim that you are the most about Rob Zombie out of all of us, correct?
Oh, God.
From his film career, I would say yes.
Okay, perfect. I want to play a little theme throughout the whole show. So let's start off now since we're talking about music. Rich, can you tell me what year White Zombie formed? You have 10 seconds.
87.
You're very close. The correct answer is 1985.
Richard, what's happening?
Yeah.
I knew that one. Yeah.
Yep. Very positive
All
of
right,
it.
well, I said film anyway, and you asked me a music question. So.
Well, I apologize about that, but I mean, later on, I'm sure I will give you a film question. But
if you would have said, how did Rob Zombie begin his career in film? He was a PA on what television show? Your response would be,
I don't know, what was it?
Pee-wee's Playhouse, actually.
So a lot of people don't know that. What's his real name?
Robert Cummings?
Yes. What's his middle name, though?
Oh.
No. I can't even pronounce his middle name.
Yeah, it's a weird...
But we will have some of this trivia throughout the show.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get a little focused up. Vince, you can actually nail them with one somewhat simple because we're going to dive straight into House of a Thousand Corpses. So if you want to nail them with something simple on that right away, you can, and then we'll dive right into that movie.
Very simple one, Rich. What year was House of a Thousand Corpses released?
What year was it released?
Yes.
2001.
Wow. Holy shit. It's 2003.
Ooh,
2003?
Shit.
Yeah.
Of course it was, sir.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Rich knows zombie movies like he knows Chinese. This is great.
It was filmed in 2001.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question.
Yeah, when did it come out?
Oh, whatever. It took another 2.5 years to get it out.
All right, so House of a Thousand Corpses was Rob's first movie, and in this one, we get introduced to the Firefly family. Now, what do you guys actually think of this movie as his first one in general?
Let's start with Mike on this one.
Oh, I always go last with Mike. Okay.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought Devil's Rejects was better. I thought that this kind of had a Texas Chainsaw 74 feel to me for some reason.
Good job, Mike.
Those are good statements. I agree with
right
most of that.
Okay, well, what do you think, Rich? What is your opinion of this film?
I wouldn't say it's less than or greater than Devil's Rejects. I think they're equal in their own right. It has a more humorous tone, I would say. It borders horror and comedy, but I don't think he was really going for funny. It just happens that I find some of that shit extremely hilarious.
Okay.
The opening scene. Take the opening scene, for instance, where the guys come in and try and rob Captain Spaulding, and little Dick Wick play with his prick. That's just funny. And then, shooting a dude in the face.
Goddamn motherfucker got blood on my best clown suit.
Yes. That's gold right there.
Yeah, it is.
And the casting, too. He seriously picked one of the best casts.
Well, it's a very good cast to say the least. I mean, Rainn Wilson's in the film. He's gone on to do so much.
Yeah.
And so did Chris. What the hell is his last name? He used to be on G4.
Oh, Chris Hardwick. Very funny comedian, too.
Yes.
So,
And that's the first film we're also introduced to his longtime girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, who went by Sherry Moon in that film.
Oh,
and,
stop it, Mike.
Really, I mean, she is so good-looking there.
Oh, she is smoking hot in that.
Oh, yeah.
She's still hot to this day, but right there, oh, my God.
Yeah, it was good.
You watch the movie during the, the weird scenes, like where she's talking about if somebody needs killed, you just kill them. That's it. You can see her naked in there too. She's playing with a skeleton.
Right. Well, you could see her naked on
her boob.
You can see her naked on every early Rob Zombie album. She's naked on all the covers, frankly.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, what did you think of this film?
Well, when I first watched it, okay, the first thing that jumped in my head instantaneously was this man is an absolute fan of 70s cinema. And not only that, I did get a strong Texas Chainsaw, more of a Chainsaw 2 vibe out of it, frankly. And which I'm not thinking is a bad thing because I love Chainsaw 2. And, then you got Billy Moseley pretty much playing a slightly toned down version of Chop Top anyway. And but all in all, for a first effort, I thought it was successful. I bought it. I've watched it at least 30 times.
All right. Vincent Paul.
Well, when this movie came out, look at the year 2003. That's how I also want to view a lot of the Rob Zombie's movies at the time. 2003 started off really slow. Unfortunately, you had Willard that came out. That was early winter of 2003. No, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film.
I like better than the original.
It was a remake, but it didn't do well. Nobody really responded to it. It was really Rob Zombie, what he did, and what Ryan said was perfect. It gives you that 70s vibe, but we're given something that we haven't seen in quite some time. Yes, we had those Scream movies that came out with those familiar faces and this familiar script that we knew was going to happen. This film, in ways, really set the tone for the rest of that year when you came out with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Freddy vs. Jason, which, yes, it definitely has its problems. Then you have original films like High Tension that came out. But with that setting the table, in my opinion, really helped to pave the way. And you could definitely tell at that point that Rob Zombie was a true student of the game. And we're going to find that out more and more as the years go on.
I actually agree with almost everything everyone said. Yeah. To me, this one actually has a little bit more of a Last House on the Left feel. I don't know if that's just my vibe I take from it.
No, it's good. It does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I really, really love this film. And I think I like it just because of some of the really abstract turns that it takes. Like, it gets you involved enough that when you're introduced to Dr. Satan and all that insanity, you're already on board. It doesn't matter what the fuck happens. You're on board with that shit. And I really love that. And I don't know, just some of the choices with that, like the long pause with the camera pulling back just before, the cop gets shot in the head. That is fucking classic.
You also, from my viewpoint, you had a lot of the characters who not only could they act, but I found a lot of them to be very likable, and you didn't want any harm to happen to them. Right. Yet, you have some likable killers. That hardly ever happens, where you have likable heroes, likable villains, and you're almost torn of just saying, I just want a good film at this point.
Yeah.
And that rarely ever happens.
Yeah. And I also want to agree just because that, Sherry Moon was fucking hot as shit in this one.
Well, if you're into that sort of thing, women.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. But anyway, we are going to dive into his next film, The Devil's Rejects.
Come on, honey. Mommy has to get to work. If I'm late one more time, Mr. McDonald is going to can my ass. Will you get in the car? Okay, come on, let's go get in.
Mom, a clown.
Yeah, clown. Oh, hi.
Hi. I'm going to have to be taking your car today. you have some top-secret clown business that supersedes any plans that you might have for this here vehicle.
What's that about clown business?
Do I stutter, bitch?
Jamie, get in the car. Lock the door.
Where the hell you going? Damn it. Don't you never turn your back on a fucking clown when he's talking to you.
Fucking hands off of me!
What's the matter, kid? Don't you like clowns? Why? Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny? You best come up with an answer, because I'm going to come back here and check on you and your mama. If you ain't got a reason why you hate clowns, I'm going to kill your whole fucking family. All right, now get your fucking ass out the car. Go on. Yeah. Shit. Woo.
Okay, so Devil's Rejects was his follow-up continuing with the Firefly Flammy. Bleh, I can't talk tonight. I know, and this is weird because this is the experimental show where John's actually fucking sober. What the hell? Yeah.
Holy shit, you're sober? you gotta
But anyway,
that.
we're introduced to the
Go
Firefly
right now,
family.
please. Thank you.
You know, on their own, on the run in this one.
We're Miller
And
Lite.
it definitely kind of takes a change from the previous film. So, Michael J., what are your actual thoughts on this follow-up?
It was much better than House of a Thousand Corpses. I enjoyed it. There was actually that one scene in the hotel room with the chick from Three's Company, Priscilla Barnes, I believe her name is, where they kind of like rape her.
Nobody gets raped in the film,
Or
Mike.
maybe kill her. I don't remember exactly how it goes down, but I really enjoyed
He
that.
shoved a gun
well, they
in
did
her
something
twat.
to her.
Yeah, that's not rape. That is not rape.
That's beyond
That's it. Yes, that was. Well, it was sex with by gun. Then, that really stood out, and the ending when they just get away. I always thought that
they're obviously
They
fucking
are
dead.
very much
They're not
dead.
dead.
They got gunned
The
away.
opposite way go prequel. I want to see how they got so sick and twisted.
That would be entertaining. But, Rich, what are your thoughts on this one?
Interesting.
I can't say that it's better than House of a Thousand Corpses, but it is a very good sequel. I would say it's one of the best sequels, ever made to a film. Very rarely do you get a sequel that is that good. Really, the only complaint, though, that I have is, like, if you ever watch the DVD and you see the deleted scenes, some of those deleted scenes I would have loved left in, especially the Dr. Satan shit, because I loved Dr. Satan in Part 1. So, Part 2, they had the little thing where they caught Dr. Satan, they had him in the hospital, and he slices Rosario Dawson's throat. I mean, that right there is the shit. Like, you had Rosario Dawson come in for a cameo, and she just gets her whole throat ripped open.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
That was a very cool scene. I enjoyed that scene, but just the scene by itself. If that was in the film, I don't think it would fit the tone of what this movie really was.
Yeah, I totally
You don't
agree.
think they could have worked it in there at all as like just a little, just to keep the Dr. Satan character there?
I don't know, man. It's to me, it seems like a standalone moment. You know what I mean? That would have been, to me, a perfect ending to House of a Thousand Corpses.
Or they could have put it after the credits as just kind of like a follow-up.
Right. See, that would have been
that,
great.
too.
Because, at the end of this movie, everybody's gunned down. They're obviously dead. Long credits. And at the end, that scene, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, and have Dr. Satan escape from the hospital. Because
Right.
then you would have been like, oh, Dr. Satan, could carry on.
Yeah.
Find some new crazies to bring them people to experiment on. And you would have had a whole nother film with a whole new cast, but having Dr. Satan is still the focal point.
Exactly. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on the Rejects?
Oh, man. Rejects. Okay, number one, I think it is by far the best movie that Zombie ever made. By far. I watched that movie, and I remember going to see this film, and I watched it, and it wasn't what I expected in any way. I was expecting pretty much more the same as Rejects. And, I mean, of corpses. And when I saw it, I was, number one, so incredibly surprised by this and the absolute change of things, but I realized that I was made to give a fuck about these people. I cared about these killers, and that was something that I didn't expect in any way. And after I was done, I was amazed on just the pure growth that Zombie put into filmmaking from his first film. It was just this massive leap of technical skill and filmmaking that, you know, I went literally to see this in the theaters an additional 2 times before it even came out. So I love this film.
Very nice. Vince, what do you got for us, bud?
Oh, it's definitely his, I feel, still his best piece of work. And think of what was on his shoulders, too, as a director. He's now making his second film. Lionsgate invested a lot into this. Not so much money, because it was only about $7 million, but they put this up for release in the middle of the summer. And yet it did very well. Now, of course, it didn't hit number 1 or come close to it, because you're not at that time. You had Fantastic Four, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wedding Crashers, all these big movies. But what Rob Zombie did, not only did he show his growth, he showed storytelling. And when I think of Devil's Rejects, the main scene I still think of is the lady, she has the cloth over her head, she doesn't know where she's running to, and you think she's going to get away, and what happens? The big rig comes out and knocks her down and kills her.
That is a good kill.
And it's something that you don't see coming. You actually feel, I can't, unless I'm having selective memory right now, I cannot remember a time where how something was shot that way, where you thought somebody definitely got away in a horror film and had a kill that you did not see coming. So that always sticks with me, and also the ending as well. I do feel it's one of, it's honestly his best film. I still think he has not followed that up, but it's tough to follow up what I feel is a near classic.
Well put.
Yes, we will, fanboy.
You did.
Shut up, Mike. All right, well, I really, really like The Devil's Rejects, and I think what he did so brilliantly with this one is, regardless of what you've seen these characters do, he actually makes you care about them again and actually get really involved with their story, and you're backing them regardless of what the hell they're doing. That is what was so brilliant about this.
Well, I feel there's 2 people that stole the show, and yet there's a really nice cast throughout this whole film. And when I say great cast, there's people that we recognize. If you're a wrestling fan, there's Diamond Dallas Page.
Yep.
Fan of any cinema, any B movies, there's Danny Trejo.
Absolutely.
One of them that I felt stole it. Now, there's 2 that I have in mind, but the one I feel steals it in this one was Bill Moseley, only to be followed up by William Forsythe.
Yes.
I thought those 2 together really stole the whole show, and that's tough to do with a heavy genre cast.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I absolutely couldn't agree more.
And that's tough.
Moseley in this film, this is my favorite film of Moseley's. His performance in this movie is amazing. And then we get to the sheriff. Okay, when you could play a character where, as this character, you are supposed to be the vengeful, victim. He was going for revenge, and he was in the right. But by his performance and how well he did this, through the course of the whole movie, you begin to not only root against him, but think of him as almost as evil as they are
Oh yeah.
And this is what this vengeance has done to him. And the fact that he, can take that role and make it his own in that way to make you feel that way. And he completely sells it. He sells it 100%. That performance, I think, is, I don't know, man. That's one of those performances that people are going to look back on years from now and say, that is one of the greats.
Yeah. And that's another reason this one stands out is the performances have definitely gone up a notch with this one compared to House.
Oh, absolutely.
And the one thing I want to add to this, especially with Bill Moseley, with this part, and Bill Moseley at this point has been active for over 20 plus years. Having him play that character of Otis, it was the equivalent. Yes, I'm going to really stretch the genre here and say it's the same when De Niro got that big break for Taxi Driver. Yes, he did. He had a couple really good roles before that, but it was Taxi Driver where he goes, I'm just going to make it. I'm going to really make my mark. No matter how good this film is, people are going to remember me first. And I feel that's what Bill Moseley did. He just grabbed the opportunity by playing that character, but making it his own. That's just how I feel. I think it's his best role ever because he controlled it.
I will agree with you there.
That's one of those characters where if anybody else plays it, it's like think of Johnny Depp of Captain Jack Sparrow. You know how many people couldn't play that role, but Johnny Depp can?
Right.
That's what it goes with Bill Moseley, and that's what makes him really good in anything he does. But because he's known as a horror guy, it's can't really put him up for anything else. He's just horror, which is complete, utter crap. Lack of a better word.
He definitely, I think he could carry a movie on his own. Like, giving that performance again, he could so carry a film. And it's a shame that we don't see him in, bigger budget productions, theatrical releases, where he's the, he could play any horror character, but I'm sure he could branch out and do so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's good. I don't think he's leading man material all throughout, but I think he's just the best. What Steve Buscemi does, just that great character actor. You can put him in anything, and he's going to shine on screen when you put him in.
No, I agree with you guys, but I am going to be the odd man out just because I feel I have to say this. I know so many people love Rejects, and I do think it is amazing, but for some odd reason, I gravitate more to House out of the two of those.
What is it about House of a Thousand Corpses that... Now, did you watch... Now, I don't know if you watched all of his films in order, but did you watch House of a Thousand Corpses first?
I did.
Okay. What was it about that at the time when you saw it that just made it stand out so much?
I think it was some of the choices that he made with just how randomly it is completely insane, just random scenes. Like I said before, the long shot and just the insanity that the story took. I don't know why, but all that just really sticks with me. And I think that's why I gravitate more towards that one, is the amount of insanity that is just in the story.
I want to ask you this now. Before you saw House of a Thousand Corpses, what was the movie before that gave that same type of impact to you?
I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I would probably have to say it is in line, at least with the impact that it had on me, with Evil Dead.
How old were you when you saw the first Evil Dead?
I believe I was 11 or 12.
Okay, and you're still young at this point when you see House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, I was a year or two. I was in college, so I was a year or two out of high school.
And I ask this because that's also where you are at in your life. Certain movies that can hit you at the right time.
Absolutely.
Gives you more of an impact. Do you think that you hold more of a candle like Mike does with the Halloween franchise? Okay, he holds the candle to it. And it's not a knock on Mike. Do you think when you went into with Devil's Rejects, you go, this has to be better than House of a Thousand Corpses, or it's not going to be better than it. Did you have a little bit of that going into it?
Well, what it was I actually put off watching it, and I heard so much hype about how amazing it was, all the awards, and then I watched, and I was just like, it's not bad. So I think that played a part in it right there, honestly.
You know what that is, guys? That's the person your buddy talks about. He goes, I'm dating this girl. She looks like a fucking supermodel.
Yeah.
She is hot. And then you go, wow, okay. He said it looks like, and then she comes in and you go, and the girl could be very attractive, but you go, oh, I was expecting a supermodel. You know,
yeah.
Right.
This is not a supermodel. So yes, that can affect the film by all means.
Yeah, but even just going back and rewatching it, I mean, if I had to rate them, it'd only be like a half a point difference between them because they are both absolutely amazing. But just the random insanity still stands out to me. So.
Well, that is the first two films he comes out with are really strong. The big question is that people, and this is the tough thing about being a director, a writer, especially a director at this point, when you put up what could be considered two home runs in the horror world, hardest part is how do you follow that? It's beyond tough to follow it, and nobody would ever thought in 2005 how he would follow up Devil's Rejects.
Exactly, and that's the next film we're jumping into right now.
See, I did a little thing there, huh?
Yeah. You set it right up, and I'm not really knocking it out of the park. It's a home run.
Tonight's brutal murders was described by police as Manson-like in its viciousness. 3 people brutally murdered and a 10-year-old boy being held in custody.
You haven't said a word for 15 years.
This summer, Rob Zombie unleashes a unique vision of a legendary tale.
Listen, be careful tonight. A lot of nutcases come out on Halloween.
Is the boogeyman real? Why are you so obsessed with the boogeyman, Tommy? Halloween night, the boogeyman attacks kids who don't believe.
Oh no, Tommy! Boogeyman's gonna get me!
I'm gonna cut that mask right off your face.
He's come back for his baby sister. To do what?
So with that whole thing there, with the Halloween remake and now, but let's focus more on the remake.
Yeah.
With Rich, what was it about what was it about the remake that kind of brought you in?
What really brought me in was the telling of a whole new story. This really wasn't a remake. Like, this is a lot better. This is the best remake, period.
Ooh.
Tells you a whole new story. He didn't just remake a film. He gave you something completely new. He pretty much just took existing characters' names and the iconic mask, but gave you something completely new and original, which is very hard to do. But seeing Michael grow up and getting that whole childhood of him, that right there, that first half of the movie is a movie in itself.
As it was intended.
The whole damn thing. And that is just like, shit, you could turn it off right after he escapes and then go throw in the original, and it would make sense. Like, it would be, actually, I wanted to do that, you know, cut all that, and then, you know, put it with the original. But again, I'm starting to get off track. That is what drew me in. I think that's what drew in a lot of people, was getting to see, the evolution from a very talkative kid, had animals, had a family. His family wasn't that bad. He had a very good relationship with his mom. He had a good relationship with his baby sister. But his older sister, she was a douchebag. And her mom's boyfriend was an asshole. They kind of deserved to die.
Well, how do you not have a relationship with a baby that doesn't talk?
Yeah.
Honestly, we can factor that one out. Okay.
But what I take Rich as saying is that actually,
how do you have a
finally,
same way parents have a relationship with a child that doesn't talk?
That's different. They created it. I mean, yes, it does prove a point that he can show love,
that he's caring.
Yeah,
exactly.
But what I take from you saying, shut up, Mike, 1 second, let me fucking say this. What I take away, Rich, is that you're saying that the reason that you really got drawn into this was because this mysterious character that we've grown up with, that we've known for so many years, we're actually finally getting some character development explanation behind that doesn't involve stupid rocks. So
exactly,
that's understandable. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to say that when I saw the remake, it always made me want
to
purge some snort on somebody's
Did you do it? Did you ever once do it?
Yes. I always, no, because it's weird. When I first saw
Mike.
that and I heard that, I'm like, I wonder what that means. And then, I went home later that night and I thought about it, and I was like,
my God.
That's what he's talking about. Okay.
Moving along. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this one?
Okay, here we go. So we've all heard your sides of things. Here's mine. This movie I like. Okay, I like it, but I didn't like it at first. Now, the degree in which I like it now isn't even great. You know what I mean? To me, I think it's a competent film, frankly. And I could blame a lot of it on the fact that I am such a Halloween fan. But what I saw him bring into it was taking a character that was just pure evil. Just a force that was, thusly the shape. And then he took all the mystery out of it. And not only did he take all the mystery out of it, he turned him into a redneck. And that would probably lose his life savings to get a banana with dreadlocks. And not to bring up other issues. And just take that all away. And then suddenly, after he gets out of the asylum, which the best parts of this film are the asylum, leaves there, and then it turns into the first Halloween, but in fast forward with a little bit more vulgarity and a different ending. This movie, I think it's completely unnecessary. I don't see the reason why it has to be there. I've accepted why it is here. And I've taken from the film through time what was done well, but I wouldn't call this a piece of fantastic cinema in any way.
Very well put, sir. Very well put. Vincent Paul.
No one has even brought up the fact that Rob was able to create another iconic mask.
Well, what he did was they took Wayne Toth and he molded this mask off of the closet scene in the first movie. How it looked in there, that's what he tried to mold. And he tried to make it look like that. And then, Zombie, of course, being Zombie, okay, we're going to make it decrepit and rotted looking. And that's what he brought to it. So it wasn't creating...
Not just the white mask. I'm talking about the escape mask.
The pumpkin one.
The orange escape mask.
Oh, yeah.
That's not iconic.
That's a great mask.
No,
that mask is beautiful.
Rich is trying to sell Rich is trying to sell the 30 that he has off right now. That's what he's trying to do. Oh, it's really great, guys. And by the way, I don't know why I brought it up, but I have 45 of them for only $9.99 a piece. That's what he's stopping.
Paper mache with marker on it.
Yeah, that's really not iconic. I mean, if that's iconic, Camp Out Nightmare is going to be very iconic, right, Mike? I plugged your film. All right.
Yes, it is.
My
If
take,
it wasn't iconic, why did Paper Magic pick it up last?
because nobody heard of that company
out
before
Well,
that.
it's because the fan base. Okay, if you watch, you go to sites like michaelmyers.net and all that. The zombie films have been ostracized from the regular board and put in their own special board. Like they were meant. They were put in a place where, like, your series that you like is not on par with our series, which I disagree with, and that's what happened over there. So what you had were fans that were coming in, trying to say, "Hey, I dug this movie," and getting shit on for it, and then suddenly, okay, well now we're all shoved over on this segregated section, like it's racism all over again. And then, they became ravenous fans. These fans, they felt the need at this point to defend what they liked against, Big Brother, we'll say. And they went to town. And so they were buying things left and right, from the coveralls to, we're recasting animatronic heads and everything else. So it became something personal. So that's why it is what it is.
Plus, somebody could make a buck off it.
Plus, somebody could make a buck or 12 out of it. Yeah, exactly. And I forgot to mention also, like you were mentioning, I didn't mention this in my whole spiel there, but Tyler Mane, I think his portrayal of Myers, I think it was fantastic. I like how he moved as Myers. I dug that. So,
thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
Mike, how many times did you and I watch? Mike and I were lucky enough to get a screener copy of this back in 2007, and we also saw it in the theater because you had to experience the movie in the theater as well. Yeah, but I'm saying we both watched it in the theater as well. So, but Mike and I probably watched our screener copies. Maybe I could speak for myself. Yeah.
I watched it once.
From late August all the way up to November. I might have watched it almost once a day. Honestly, I go back to certain scenes. Here's what I've taken out of the film. One, I like the movie. It's a reimagining, not a remake. Two, what the biggest problem for my eyes was, it was a miscast. The biggest miscast in here is Scout Taylor Compton. She should not be Laurie Strode. If you're going to cast Danielle Harris, I feel Danielle Harris should be Laurie Strode because she's likable.
Thank you.
Look at Jamie Lee Curtis back in 78. She was very likable, innocent, hit it. The whole Scout Taylor Compton, who is, by the way, a snotty cunt off of there, who I don't want to, I'm not going to do it again. Are you, dummy? You're not going to do it. What the fuck are you doing now besides aging poorly at the age of 25? You seriously, you're a dumb bitch. You haven't done anything yet after that. Okay, I'm sure you can act. We have no proof, but I'm sure one day you'll get a good script. There's sometimes you have to say thank you for getting the big break. And here's the bullshit of it. Here's somebody who's going to say, I don't want to do another one of these, yet she'll take your money at a goddamn horror convention. That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it. If she was also paid to play Laurie a certain way, I still feel somebody more likable, just when you see them on screen, would have got that done. I got the Malcolm McDowell. I understood how his portrayal of Samuel Lewis was as Rob Zombie wrote it. So he did a great job there. Some of those minor characters were great, such as Danny Trejo. I was sad to see him get killed. Sherry Moon Zombie was very good. I didn't like just that very stereotypical of, okay, she's a stripper and a single mom. I understand it because I've dated it. All right. I don't need it in the movie. And it's just so, it's been overdone, but that's his vision. It still worked. That's the funny thing. I can admit that it does work. We finally get, as Halloween fans, that we do see this great backstory, finally, which we wanted. So that part plays in well. And I think also done at the end of it all, I like the movie. I get it. And I take it as not a remake, but a good reimagining, and that's what it's supposed to be. It is not a remake. That's my thoughts on it.
Well said.
Well, here's my part. I mean, I agree with a lot of things said here. I think Tyler Mane is fantastic, possibly my favorite Michael Myers. I thought Malcolm McDowell as Loomis was very good in this one. I actually didn't mind Scout. However, I do agree that Daniel Harris would have done a much better job. But the biggest flaw with this one, to me, is that it felt like it was half Rob Zombie, half studio. It felt like he had to walk a tightrope the entire time he was making it, and it just kind of comes across to me watching it.
Bingo.
Like, he was so held back in making that I want to see what his vision was. I really do.
You will.
Yeah, but I do agree that it's a good movie, and I do think that the explanation of Michael is good, and I think it's somewhat needed. I just don't think it's as needed as we got. I think some of the mystery is still crucial towards that character. So,
how about this? I don't mean to cut you off, but it's a big important thing. As you guys know, I do love history, no matter what the subject is. And let's look at this horror history here. Did you know that this movie should have been released in October? Hands down, should have been.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
The main reason it was not because it was feared that it wouldn't do well going up against the next Saw movie, the next Saw installment. Let's look back on that. Yeah, Saw was very, each one did very well.
Yeah.
But when you have Halloween, or the remake, I think I feel it would have did better numbers if released in, say, late September, early October, than being released at the end of August, then being replayed at the last last 2 days of Halloween, the 30th and 31st, in many theaters. It's kind of sad that they had no confidence going up against Saw 4 in 2007, and that's why they released it in August.
However, it did take number one at the box office.
It did very well at the box office.
It did very well.
And I believe
it definitely would have did even more had they released it in October.
Oh, totally agree.
Well, you have to look at all the factors in there, and I understand now that Mike's favorite people, the Weinsteins, had their say, and probably thought better of it to just put it in at that time, and that year wasn't the biggest year for those summer blockbuster, the hero movies that we all love that usually fill it. But there was Halloween. It did well over $50 million. It opened with $26 million, big time money, and it was given a shitty budget for a studio movie, $15 million, which is a lot of money to us. I mean, we would never spend that in a lifetime, but for a movie, it's more on the lower end, sadly enough.
Right.
So, like Forrest Gump once said, that's all I have to say about that.
All right, and with that, let's jump straight into the next one, Halloween 2.
Do we have to?
It's a brilliant.
Oh, fuck
it's
me,
even
dude.
Better.
Go with it, Mike. Go with it.
2007 remake. It's just, I mean, come on.
My Little
The
Pony.
imagery
My
of
Little
that
Pony.
whiteboard is just amazing, and I loved how McDowell kind of, like, Loomis was written, and he made that whole, like, transformation to the total asshole. And then by the end of the movie, he kind of
No.
I'm gonna his caring, compassionate.
I'm gonna
self.
stop you right there. He did not come back as his caring, compassionate
No,
self.
he did
He
not.
tried
No, he did
to
not.
redeem himself.
Yes, he did. He at the end of the movie, yes, he did.
No, he was just
that's-
trying to make up for being a
back to his
douchebag.
That is complete, fucking, embarrassment. He was embarrassed by himself on TV and said, I look like a fucking douchebag. Because he looked like a fucking douchebag. Because for the whole fucking movie, he acted like a fucking douchebag.
Exactly.
No, that's
but
like
he
that's
learned
like
his-
your
but he
wife
learned his
yelling at
lesson
you
and he
because you
wanted to
didn't do
come
the
back
fucking
and be a
dishes, and
better
you're like,
person.
fuck this. Okay, I'll do the dishes. You're not doing it because you
Exactly.
want to. It's because you're doing it because you feel you have to. That's nothing.
You know, Mike, in that movie, he was so unlikable and so stupid. He should have started a horror podcast. Okay, that's what a biggest idiot.
Mike,
I would have loved that. That would have been awesome.
he was such an asshole. You should have played him.
I would have been his first guest.
No, actually, we all know somebody that should have played him.
Ooh.
Weird Al Yankovic?
Yeah, I think we do.
It would have been great. I'm just saying. It would have been a phenomenal role for Weird Al. Huge Weird Al fan.
But anyway,
Mike, I just don't.
He had to play it that way, though.
It was written
had
that
to
way.
Be unlikable. Yeah, but it wouldn't have worked if he tried to be likable.
Well, that's where I'll
still chasing Michael around.
I'll give it to McDowell for that, because he did a good job playing this fucking asshole, because I believed he was a fucking asshole watching this film. And obviously that's how it was written. But still, I fucking hated Loomis in this movie. He was a useless character. He was only there to spit in people's faces for the whole film.
Very good point.
I thought his turn was good, and I loved I loved the performance of it. But the only part that I'm arguing with Mike is that he turned back. I just think that was his act of redemption for the turn that he made. That's the only thing I'm arguing. But please continue, Mike.
No, I mean, I like that. And again, Myers was good. The killing with the, I loved in the opening where they hit the cow, and then he kind of sliced, yeah, that was great shit. And then he kind of sliced the dude's head off. And then
that still gets me, though. When they hit that cow, it's like they hit a fucking brick wall. It's just automatic stop.
Yeah, that shit actually happens in real life a lot.
It's like a deer.
Dude, I've hit a fucking deer. You don't hit stop. It fucks your vehicle up, but you still roll. It's not like a fucking brick wall.
Deer.
Well, let's put about 6 deer standing next to each other. You'll stop.
Yeah. That cow is equivalent to like $6.
Okay.
12 points at that.
Continue, Mike.
12 points.
Well, he said
no one knows anything about hunting.
And Danielle Harris was amazing in that film, and her death still gets me. By the way, the director's cut though, where she's playing with the puppy, just adds the flashback.
Best part of the movie.
With the dog, that just adds a whole new dimension.
That is honestly one of the most effective kills probably out there. Just for how much of an impact it has on the audience too.
Absolute best part.
I mean, Vince will tell you. I broke down at the part where Laurie's trying to all upset when she finds her, and I couldn't stop.
Oh my God,
I saw
Mike!
that movie in the theaters 5 times opening weekend, and I couldn't. Vince was with me the one. I think Vince was with me for the 5th time on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, they put in a pool under Mike's name.
I'm sure they do.
No, they wouldn't. They would have to do some exercising at that point. That's not going to happen. Yeah. He walks to the Krispy Kreme.
Bob does exercise.
I don't even know these people by first
Bob's
name. That's how much respect I give them.
I just think about this with Halloween 2. When it comes to mind, for me, maybe I'm the minority, but I think about Scout Taylor Compton again, and that bitchy just whining that she had to do throughout the whole film. Probably not her fault. That's how it was written. But how do you make a unlikable character even more unlikable? That's how.
Well, here's I'm going to counter that a little bit, because I actually think she's really good in this one compared to the second one. I think she's better. But here's why. She is unlikable. But I've known so many women like that I buy that 100%.
I'm so sorry.
John, unfortunately, lives in central Pennsylvania, where it's just a nice mixture of averageness and cuntiness put together.
Right. I've been fortunate enough in my life to not meet many twats. But if I did, perhaps I'd find her portrayal here believable.
I know so many fucking emo drama queens, it's not even funny. I almost married one.
Well, the difference between being emotional and then overacted is a fine line. Actually, it's not a fine line; it's a big line, and she somehow jumped across it, and I found it to be overacting.
That scene in the car when she's flipping out, screaming "fuck" just over and over again, smacking the steering wheel kind of thing. I laughed at that. I found that comical as hell. I did not find that believable acting. I was like, okay, this bitch is waiting for someone to say cut.
I will videotape some of the women I know and have to send to you guys.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, please.
Pervert Mike's radar just went up.
All right, Rich, what do you have for us on this one, bud?
On this one's hard because really there's two totally different versions out there. And the first one, I had seen was the theatrical, which I did not like. Did not care for the theatrical, and when I finished watching it, I was like, what the hell was this? Then finally, then the director's cut come out. I was like, okay, I got to get that one. Put that one in, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking love this one. Director's version is the better version. That's the one everyone should watch. And that's the version that I love.
Okay, well, what drew you to that version?
Yeah, but.
What did you say? What's different about it?
Well,
what drew you to it?
Why do you like that one compared to the theatrical?
More explanations, better kills, better storyline overall. The whole flow of the movie is so much smoother in the director's cut compared to the theatrical. The more extended scenes, the more in detail to everything. And honestly, I think part 2 has some of the best kills. The first one being where he saws the head off, and then, walking down towards the white horse. And the other one being where he stomps the shit out of dude's face behind the rabbit in red, which, oh my, I just love that, knocking him down to the ground and just crushing his head with his fucking boot. Like, that is beautiful. It is so beautiful.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for it because I've never actually saw the theatrical cut. I waited for this one to come out on DVD, that's for sure.
And that was smart. Honestly, if I could go back, I would have never watched the theatrical cut. I would have just waited for the director's cut. That way I never would have had that, that original sour taste.
Nah, you gotta. It's best to watch all versions.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, Ryan, what do you take?
Wait a minute, you got more going on. What were you saying?
Sorry.
Just a little bit more. The more thought I put into it, and a lot of complaints were, the white horse and him seeing his mom. And we were talking about this over the break. He had just been shot in the head, and Ryan pointed out the part where he was shot at is what controls memories and new memories. Everything that you've ever experienced in your life is on that right side. So that fully explains why he's seeing his mom, why he's seeing his white horse, why he's seeing himself as a child. His brain's scrambled. Like, he's in crazy hallucination land because he has a gunshot to the right of his brain.
Right.
And the bullet has to be lodged in there. So that just adds a whole new level of depth to it when you think about it that way.
And that's a good point. Now, Ryan, what is your take on this one?
Okay. Now, when I went to see this movie, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. It was, it grew on me. So I said, okay, I'm going to see the second one. So I went to see the second one. And when it began, okay, and they're taken away, and we get the head saw, and we get the whole hospital scene when he's going in there and stabbing the nurse over and over again, and you're seeing bodies spewed over railings with the eyes missing and everything else. I said, fuck yeah, there we go. This is Rob Zombie's movie. This is where he wants to take Halloween. He wants to take it to a different level. And then as she wakes up and realizes it was a dream, that's when all my dreams disappeared. Because suddenly the annoying Scout Taylor fucking I'll take 500 pictures on Instagram's fucking Compton is suddenly a punk rock, she's a completely different style person. She's got, fake tattoos and all that happy shit. And she's a festering fucking bitch that is evil to everyone. And Michael is now looking like he crawled out of a fucking dumpster. And then, it gets worse. Suddenly, the mask gets ripped and half his fucking face is exposed and everything else. And, you could see this movie as this is Rob Zombie Unchained. This is him doing what he wants to this series, making the movie he wanted to make. No studio coming in saying insert the original film in here somehow. None of that is there. This is all him. But when I saw what he wanted to do and saw what he did, I kind of wish I could have unseen it. That's all I can say about this movie.
You didn't like the Hobo Myers look?
No, not at all.
I did. I thought it looked really gritty. I'm a fan of that, like, gritty, like...
He looked like he was wearing his Sabretooth outfit from the first X-Men with a hood up.
Oh, Vince.
I watched a movie a couple times. I don't hate it. There's nothing like it would be stupid to really hate a movie. But I'm with Ryan on that point with the hospital scene when I'm watching that in the theater going, all right, I can get behind this. And why wouldn't I? Because I'm such a huge fan of the original Halloween 2 that took place in the hospital. So it's those familiar memories. And then you get the dream sequence and it's just this, he's telling this story, but again, characters they're not fully likable. You don't know what the hell is going on with the character of Loomis. There's nobody really to cheer for, except for Danielle Harris in the film. And then you get upset when she passes away. She's brutally murdered. The whole time, the hobo look is brought up. That takes me out of it because we grew up watching Halloween. We're not used to seeing Myers this way. There are some really great kills. That's the good part of a horror movie that you need. Overall, if I would ever have to rate this movie, it's a 5 out of 10. Just for the sequel purposes. It just didn't follow up what the first one did, and I thought it would take it into a direction. And, of course, The White Horse, a lot of people didn't get it. Rich explained it really well, too, but I think it was sometimes like, we're not really needed for this artistic approach. Just give us Myers.
Adding so much of an artistic approach to a slasher film, and that's what this film is. It's a slasher film. It's so out of place that it's bound to throw people off.
And that's what I believe a lot of people did have a tough time with that. And I do like the director's cut over the theatrical, and I'm definitely not alone with that. I believe if you had to poll 100 people, 90 of them would say director's cut. So at the same time, I'm glad it was made because it gave me excitement to go into a movie theater and watch a Halloween film. No matter, I don't care if I would care, but at the same time, if Michael Bay did it, this is how addicted we are to our Halloween. If Michael Bay was to direct it, even if he would have casted the biggest idiots, we'd still go and see it because it's Halloween, because we all paid to see Resurrection.
Yep.
We knew Busta Rhymes was in it.
Unfortunately.
And Busta wasn't going to take no shit. We still saw it. Because it's Halloween. You got us by the balls. but all said and done, still happy it happened, and it's something I do have to rewatch again just to digest it even more.
All right, well, this is actually the first time I'm going to disagree with Vince and Ryan. I actually like this one, and I actually want to say that I almost prefer it to the original remake. I think this one holds up better because I do embrace the artistic side brought into it because I love that. And I think that Rob Zombie just turned loose on this. He made a superior film to the one where he was so held back. Now, I guess so many people want to bitch and complain about the white horse and whatnot. It's a simple little throwaway part. Whether you want to read into it so much that it's damage from that or, you know, Michael's just fucking nuts and we're getting a peek behind the curtain finally. I just take it as more explanation as to Michael. But I agree, there are great kills. I think the story development in this one's really good, and some of the direction, the shots and whatnot are just fucking beautiful in this film.
Well, he does show off his directing skill that I felt you got the best view of that early on with Devil's Rejects. I believe also, you know, the help with a good budget, you had those better cameras. So, yeah, he shows that off, and which we'll later get onto when we talk about Lords of Salem. But, you know, I respect your point. There's so many different ways to see Halloween 2. It's better. I can appreciate what he did. It's not for me, but I'm not ignorant to the fact of what he was doing. I think it's only ignorant if somebody who just goes, Halloween 2 fucking blew. Did you at least, you know, see some things from? No, fuck that. They took away Myers from. Okay, Myers is not your boyfriend. You know, we all love the character of Michael Myers, and we all take that little ownership. But at the same time, it's a goddamn movie. I've always said that, and I'll continue saying this till the day I die. When a remake happens, they don't destroy the original. You can still own the original. So if you don't like it, you still have the original. It's just a retake. So
exactly. And I think it was so fucking ballsy of him to kill Myers off. I actually appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree.
What about the biggest factor of the whole movie? The biggest one. The big no-no, if you will, the unwritten rule of they made Michael talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
well, depending on which one you watch, yeah.
True.
And that's the thing that we were introduced in the first one from 2007 of Michael with dialogue as a child. Then he stopped talking, which is and to go back to 2007, I missed this point. It's a really good thing when that scene where he says, "I have nothing else to say," and boy, does he doesn't have anything else to say because we don't hear him talk again. It's a pivotal scene, but when he talks, it's. You know, we're all thrown off at the time of him going, die! It's like, whoa, we did not expect that. This is not the Michael we know. Going back to that ownership again.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem when it comes to remakes and whatnot. People want to hold on to that so much that they can't fully immerse themselves in what they're seeing.
It's tough to take it back and not go in there think of the original that we fall in love with. But that's tough to do as fans. We're all fans of horror. Fan is just short for fanatic, and we do get fanatical about these pieces, especially remakes that we love.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to dive into the next one. The Haunted World of El Superbeasto.
Yeah, I have no comment. You can leave me out of this one.
Why? You guys never even seen the movie, huh?
I watched parts of it.
Okay, that doesn't count.
I skimmed it.
That's just a not watch.
I found it very hard to masturbate to. Was I the only one?
I tried, but no.
I don't know. I could probably tug one out to that.
I bet you could.
The animated version of Sherry Moon Zombie
And Mike probably could, because there's a animated version of Myers in it for a second.
Yes, there is.
Nah, animated Myers doesn't do it for me. It's got to be in the.
And a man with a puppy.
Like to see a straight to DVD animated Myers, especially after seeing that little animation, cellar that they released.
Right.
That looked really cool.
Yeah, but this one, what the fuck? Honestly. I mean, I've seen it. I've actually watched it twice, which I forced myself to watch it again, hoping that it wasn't as bad as I remembered, just for this show. And yeah, it was. So, Rich, please explain to me why it's a good movie.
That's exactly what it is. It's a good movie. It's not great. It's not, a staple in cinematic history or anything like that. But animation-wise, it's so fucking fun. You have where he brings in characters from all of his films. You have the return of Dr. Satan, who is nothing like Dr. Satan, from House of a Thousand Corpses. You have, El Super Beasto, the masked wrestler guy. You have his sister sidekick, played by Sherry, and she's doing like an over-the-top baby voice in it. It's funny, and it's something you could even set kids down in front of, and they will laugh their ass off.
How many hard-ons are in that movie?
Because they don't know, they don't know any of the references. They just think it's funny because you have Michael Myers getting run over by El Super Beasto. Like, it's just one of those little things that they know who Michael Myers are, and did you see that he just got run over? Like, it's a fun watch. It's funny.
I think
I don't think it was meant to be anything more than that.
No, I agree there. I just don't think the humor was lost on me. I didn't get it at all. Honestly, to me, my favorite parts were the references to his other films, and really, the monkey was the only funny part to me. I appreciated at the end where Susie X had sex with the robot. I appreciated that, but past that, I really want to know what the hell he was smoking when he made this. Because this also this took him, 5 fucking years to get done?
Marijuana.
Right. Very long time. He wanted to release this theatrically before Halloween 2.
Yeah, and I don't know. To me, this is something that people can leave out of their Rob Zombie collection. This is something that is standalone, and it's hit or miss with people.
I think I will personally watch the film all the way through when I'm ready. When it came on cable, I wasn't ready to see it, so I'm not going to watch a film that I'm not ready for, and then leave it with a sour taste in my mouth because I wasn't ready for it. That's not fair to the person who put their time in directing it.
See, I had a completely different experience. I was excited for it to come out. The day it came out, I searched around and finally found it, watched it, and literally it just ended, and I was sitting there like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. I was just disappointed in that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I was disappointed like you. I went out of my way to find it. I was like, okay, this is it. It's an animated movie. It's Rob Zombie. I'm going for it. So I went out, searched it out, found it, brought it home, sat it down, popped it on, watched it, and within 5 minutes, I knew what he was going for. I know he was going for like a satire of himself in a way, and this insane story about this, stuck-up, wrestler that walks around getting hard-ons and robots getting fucked and, crazy shit like that. And by the end of it, I just found it like extremely juvenile in a way, to the point I couldn't really get into it. It's like, even if say his last film before that, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which isn't a bad movie. You could tell he put a lot of skill into it and everything else. I expected, I don't know, out of his first animated feature, especially knowing his animation and the way he drew things years back and everything else for his own album covers and everything, I expected more out of him. And the movie did not deliver that for me. It seemed like something that if I was stoned out of my mind and watched, I'd laugh my ass off. But I was not stoned out of my mind. I was sitting in my living room telling my kids to get out because I didn't think it was good for them to see what Mr. El Super Beasto was doing at that moment.
That's a really tough thing to try to explain to your kids if they watch that film.
See, here's the thing, too, is I knew this one was coming on my rewatch, and I started drinking in preparation, hoping that I would enjoy it more being drunk. However, I just ended up getting so drunk that I fell asleep and had to watch it in the morning with a hangover.
Which made it worse.
Yeah, I was just sitting there like, God damn it, I need to drink again.
See, don't get drunk to it, just get high. Get baked out of your mind.
It was reminding me. Something about it just seemed wrong. It reminded me of, I don't know if anyone's ever seen those lost episodes of Ren and Stimpy.
Yes,
have you seen those? Okay, and I grabbed these because I'm a Ren and Stimpy fan. When I was younger, that's what I watched. So I ended up bringing this home, and I'm like, kids, it's time. I'm going to introduce you to Ren and Stimpy. And then we got Shampoo Master pumping fucking, shampoo cum all over girls' hair and tits and boners holding up towels and shit and all this. And I'm like, oh my, get out now.
Real quick, I know this, we're doing the whole thing on Rob Zombie, but real side note for Ren and Stimpy, it came out the same time as Beavis and Butthead. I still to this day, Beavis and Butthead are not funny. They weren't funny in 93. They're not funny in 2013. I personally never found them funny.
They were somewhat funny.
Yes, I felt
Ren and Stimpy is better.
I always felt it was it wasn't a battle that was trying to be a battle, but it came out at the same time, and I just felt Ren and Stimpy was for people who had a brain. Beavis and Butthead, even if you loved music, and that's what it was geared towards, and I got that. The jokes were not funny unless you love hacky shit. Then by all means, Beavis and Butthead, really good for you. Ren and Stimpy was a step above, and now Ryan with that, brilliant. It was brilliant, and it was so
downstairs. A loner in Paris runs over the neighbor's dog. Come on, dude, that is awesome.
Cartoons, Vince, is the one thing we do not see eye to eye on. It's we have the same taste in everything, but when it comes down to cartoons, it's like you go against the grain on everything that's funny.
I grew up loving The Simpsons. First 2 seasons of Family Guy I did find to be very funny, but back in the that time in the 90s, Ren and Stimpy, I always loved. Beavis and Butthead, I didn't get. I actually watched it just for the videos they were going to rip on. I thought that part was funny. That was funny to me. But I don't know. Ren and Stimpy is just it was smart. Really great jokes. Then again, at the age of 9, I'm listening to Red Fox and laughing and getting it. So blame any kind of racial humor I still have to this day on Red Fox, who was a genius and that still is. God rest his soul.
Yes,
Red's funny.
All right, guys. Well, let's get a little focused up. We're going to dive into his most latest film right now with The Lords of Salem.
Well, that should be easy. Just listen to the past episodes of all the shows.
Yeah, every show out there except mine.
You're not listening.
The director's elevator pitch. I'm terrible at pitching movies, so I would probably go, well, it's like this thing where it's in Salem, there's these witches. Well, it's kind of really, it starts at this radio station, there's these 3 people, but then this record comes, but that really doesn't have a lot to do with it. And then, well, that's just kind of like on drugs, and this weird stuff happens. Whatever.
Just watch the movie is basically what you're saying. That's how I would probably pitch the movie. And they agreed
And they said, sure, we'll greenlight that.
I don't. Can I just start off? I want to start this one off.
Go for it.
I've said a lot about it's odd. I sound as if I'm a politician who doesn't know how to pick a side, because I respect his directing in the movie. I love the visuals. I don't think it was offensive. Some people out there think anything to do with religion is always going to be offensive, and you can always mock priests, but God forbid if you mock the piece of shit Muslim extremists, you'll get bombed. But the view of the film I liked. I thought Sherry Moon Zombie was wonderful, except for the times when she's a comatose state. It's tough to take the lead out, but when you have a great you have a really great cast in there as well. Bruce Davidson's character, loved. When he was killed off, part of me, interest in the film, was killed off, and I still say that last 20 minutes fell flat for me. But I'm glad Rob Zombie made this movie because it's an original horror movie. I like the story. I just wanted more, but I definitely don't hate it. That's my take on it.
Well, real quick, Bruce Davidson, do we know who the other movie that he was famous for from 1971?
I'm drawing a blank.
1971?
Wait, are you sure 1971?
Yes. I'm almost positive that was the year.
Because I looked before and I can't remember. I don't know.
That date doesn't sound right.
I think it was 71 because the sequel, I believe, was 72. The original.
You're right. I forgot about it because here's why we could forget that. Willard's. I like Willard. A lot of people do, and it's forgotten for whatever reason. I think, and Bruce Davison looks really good for his age. He's changed so much that when I see him, I don't think of Willard.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. No. Yeah, he was the main guy. That's
wow. Yeah.
I feel like such a fraud right now for not knowing that. Yeah, there's people.
He gets a lot of work too, though.
I'm sorry. What was that, Rich?
He gets a lot of movies though. Like he's always playing, supporting roles in film.
He's a good character, a strong character actor.
Yes.
He was in X-Men. I remember that. More recent. Yeah. And when I saw his face, I go, anytime, you ever see an actor just come on screen you didn't expect in a movie? Like Steve Buscemi always comes to mind. You see him, you go, it's going to be good. Yeah. It's going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that with Bruce Davidson. And boy, was he so likable in Lords of Salem. And I thought it was maybe how it was written. It seemed that he was the stronger lead than Sherry Moon Zombie, and that probably because of her, how she had to play it with those states where she's just in a coma.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of Jeff Phillips?
Which one was Jeff Phillips played for Lords of Salem?
He was Whitey.
Oh, he was the knockoff Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I could tell. He was fine. It was a believable character. He really did seem believable. And here's the part where I found him to be very believable, because I think we all had this moment. He's at Heidi's apartment. They're playing the record, and after the record's played, that's where she gets in this trance and she doesn't feel well. And she says, "I'm just going to get to bed." He goes, "All right." And she says, "You can crash on the couch if you want." And he just has that, that down, like, I'm not going to get any action tonight. And I think we could all relate to that, and that was very real. I thought he was good. There's no real annoying characters for Lords of Salem. I thought the Hawthorne character that we see in the past tense was great. And if you don't look close enough, you can miss Sid Haig in the movie.
I missed him. I've watched the movie 3 times now. I have missed him.
Yes, I could not find him.
He's there.
He's one of the guys that straps her down and starts tightening the screws up and whatnot.
Okay, I thought maybe he was the hairy dude in the corner that was growling, maybe in a costume or something. I had no idea.
Yeah, there is. You have that whole movie can be a blur. The first watch, that's something I've seen now 7 times. It's reminded me of his Halloween. I got to rewatch it. What am I missing? I'm gonna every time I watch it, I'm going to see something new. So it's a good cast. You have a lot of. If you go on IMDb, look for some famous people. You're gonna notice some famous names. John Five, who did the music, great job. He's in there as well.
Oh, he is. I didn't even.
Yes, he plays a guardian, and I believe it's towards the tail end of the film. You could see him, or just know what character he's playing. But that's something I had to search. Clint Howard is in it. Yep. You have and this is all through the Frankenstein part. Udo Kier is in it as well. So a lot of those familiar faces from Rob Zombie movies are in here. 3 Witches. Good choices, man.
Yeah.
How is it?
Do you think we'll get a director's version, though? Do you think there was anything that was left out?
There's always a director's version of Zombies films.
Rob Zombie probably did
He's gone on record saying that this is his director's cut.
It very well could be in this case, because this was more of like an independent type feel to it. You know
yes.
I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It didn't get any money worth of shit. And, at the same time, absolutely beautifully shot film. This film is... I've watched it, like I said, 3 times, and the more I watch it, the more I like this movie. And it's beautifully shot. The actors in it are great. The witches are the current day witches. They're all fantastic. I love them. The Lords of Salem witches, creepy as fuck, dirty, nasty looking. Sid Haig, I didn't see him. There's so much in this movie. Clint Howard's in it, like you said. Oh, quick Clint Howard story. I used to work at a hotel. Ron Howard and Clint Howard both came in. They took me aside when I took up their bags. They asked me if I could find them some Coke. True story.
Okay, this is bigger now. So what year is this?
This was, let's think about this, around 2001.
Okay, so did they both ask you?
Yeah, they asked me if I could specifically carry up their bags. I said, okay, and I carried them up, and then... and this was at a Marriott hotel. And we go up the stairs, and I'm carrying up their bags, and then we got Ron Howard talking to Clint. He's whispering to him, and then Clint comes up, and in person, this dude is the most frightening thing you've ever seen. They put movie makeup on him to make him look as hideous as he looks on film. This dude is freaky. He looks like a ghoul. And he comes over to me with his ghoulish face, and he's like, hey, you look like a guy that knows stuff. And I said, I do.
Oh, God.
I know some stuff. And he goes, you know where we could get any Coke? And I said, you want the soda machine? And he goes, no, some Coke. I need some Coke. Like, Coke? And all this shit. I was like, nah, son, I can't help you out there. But, and then he tipped me $1. He had a big wad of bills, and then he pulled out $1 because I couldn't get him his Coke.
Do you think, because I could only imagine, I put money on it. Do you think they were just fucking with you?
I don't think so. It was genuine. It was genuine. Wow. And when I said I couldn't find it, there was a look of sadness. He was upset I couldn't find him some Coke.
And we all know that Clint Howard's not the greatest actor.
Exactly.
So
I would have went out of my way to find them Coke.
No,
they definitely would have invited you in, too, to blow lines.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, I'm not going to lie, I wish I did have a Coke connection at that point, because there was a large wad of cash in his hand, and if I had the means, yes, I would have said, here you go, Mr. Hideous Man, have some Coke. Can I come in?
Mike, we're going to get Clint Howard for Camp Out Nightmare. I'm calling it right now. I'm gonna make some phone calls, we'll get some Coke, and then
You get some Coke, that's all you need.
Oh, God, that's... wow. Him being I guess it makes sense.
Just like Snake Roberts, I won't perform unless I get an 8-ball.
Well, now it just makes sense now of all the movies Clint Howard has done.
Yeah.
It makes me think of, like, far back, and maybe even when he was doing that Star Trek episode as that freakishly ugly child that was the bald head. He was a cokehead then, maybe, you know?
Now I'm going to start questioning a lot of these actors that we love who do a lot of movies. We go, why is he doing this? Oh, cocaine. That's why.
Yes, that's
cocaine
why. Cocaine
is a hell of a drug.
That's why he was in the remake of The Grinch Stole Christmas. He saw all the snow and he thought, oh, wait, no. Yeah, Ice Cream Man. There you go. He heard ice
Cream Man.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
For all those Clint Howard fans out there, all four of you. Oof.
All four of you out there, he's a fucking
Their
cokehead.
lives are ruined now.
Or enhanced, whichever way you want to take it.
All right, getting back to the movie, guys.
Fuck the movie. The Coke's better.
Well, Coke is always better.
I would agree at this point.
Like, tell a story about Kane Hodder wanting to blow you at Monster Mania. Come on,
let me choke you around your neck, and then while I'm doing that.
Actually, yeah, when he did choke me, it was probably part of like this asphyxiation thing, where maybe he was trying.
Well, how
to,
does
like,
it feel to
choke
be
me out
the
so he could, like, anally have
10,000th
his way
person
with
to take that picture with him?
You know, he's such a dick where if somebody came up creatively, let's call him me, and said, hey, can I get a picture of me choking you? Oh, no. Fucking white. Dude, stop. Just come out and say it. Kane Hodder, I played Jason. C.J. Graham did it better. Ted White did it better. Ari Lehman played it better than
Broker.
And that's,
there's so many. It's
don't
a whole
forget
big
Brooker,
thing. I'm sorry,
right.
Lords of Salem. Apologize.
Well, no, I actually want to go on Kane a little bit, because one piece of advice I can say, don't make fun of the man before you get that picture taken.
Right, he will squeeze extra hard.
Why have such an...
Is it true that he wears boots with like a 6-inch lift?
Yeah,
Make him taller?
I saw him in person. He was not that tall. He was not that tall.
Yeah, he's got me by like an inch, and I'm 6'1".
So and that's the... You know he has a really small dick too. He, you know, if you get his bag, he's asking you for Viagra to get that extra inch and a half that you would get from it. I only say that because I know, because I took it here and there, and God, is it great. That's cocaine for your penis, people. Those egos. Here's talking with Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie doesn't seem to have that kind of ego. You need to have that ego of, I can direct this movie better than anybody else could. That's a healthy ego.
Right.
Kane Hodder, there's a lot of people out there that don't have that. And that's why, talking about Rob Zombie, you know, I like to say there's a horror fan gone right. He respects the genre. He's always done a wonderful job, put his effort into everything. Whether or not you agree with what he did, that's fine. But at least you can know when you watch his movies, he put his heart into it. And that says a lot, other than certain people out there. And that's why I'll always respect Rob Zombie for his knowledge, for his passion, and for his drive and dedication. That's
well said. Well
yeah,
said.
I agree 100% with that. And it actually kind of brings up a question of mine. How many times have you guys actually watched Lords of Salem just to kind of get all the pieces to it? Vince, I think you said 7, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, and I've watched it 3. I started watching it again tonight, but then the computer made noise, so I ran over.
Rich?
2.
2? Mike?
Yeah.
Barely 1.
I noticed there wasn't... There was nobody I liked in it. They needed to bring back McDowell.
Yeah, we haven't really asked you, what do you think,
would've
Mike?
made it a
What do you
much
think
better
of this
film,
movie?
if you
Come
don't
on,
mind.
let us.
I'm curious.
Why?
I've been against it.
You
Why?
can't have an
I saw
opinion if
the
you haven't even
trailer
seen
for
it all the way
because
through.
it seems
Are
like
you
an
the type of
art house
person,
horror
Mike,
film.
that you convince yourself that you're not going to like something so you won't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Is it
sometimes
possible,
example.
like this
Sometimes I
time,
do that,
maybe?
yes,
Right on, right on.
probably. Well, because I first saw that trailer and it turned me off. If you listen to
No, nobody should listen to that.
another
And yes,
show that I
Alex,
did
that was a
before
jab
this
at
one,
you.
we-
I'm now owning every
No.
single one I throw. That was a jab at you.
Yes.
Not your show, but at you, because fuck you, that's why.
I okay, and I did do a live read. A live review of the trailer as it was going, and I didn't get it, and I still don't get it. It just seems like a lot of flashy imagery.
So,
Now,
wait,
whose
what?
idea was it to review a trailer? Because that's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Mike, do you think the movie's just too smart for you?
Yes, sir. It could be, because
Well,
I
you just
am a
proved
dumb
yourself
person. My
Bullshit.
IQ
slightly
is
more
84. I
intelligent
said
because
that
you
before.
admitted it, and knowing is half the
Your
battle.
IQ is 84?
Yes.
Do you think
Apparently
she's
a mother
joking
told
with
me
you?
I'm borderline mentally retarded, so yes.
You should
I don't
find
think
out
she
for
is.
sure. You should find out for sure,
Probably
just for
not.
your own sake, man.
That's wild.
Mike, it's nothing. Mike, it's nothing to be ashamed about. Okay, we all know. I have my problems with my health. Okay, that's fine. But there's other things I excel at in life. I'm happy for that. So, Mike, at least you still have a penis and you have a job, and you also, you can run every day. Fuck, I'm sorry, Mike.
He's like a midget among dwarves.
Yeah.
Mike, it's just so you look at Mike and then everybody, when Mike and I had our fallout, and I always had a soft spot for Mike, and it has nothing to do with his disability. Because fuck, I have no control over that. I'm going to treat you however you should be treated. But there are people who say, like, how can you make fun of him? He has a disability. Fuck that. That's just, I never not liked Mike because of his disability. We just look at things a certain way. But yeah, Mike, your disability is, that's you not being able to walk because of your spina bifida is not your disability. It's not, no, that's not your disability. I don't want you ever to think that's your disability. It's your low IQ, okay? So.
I thought it was a small penis.
Yes, exactly. That's what I say.
Well, see, because you told me that, and then you told me you got handicapped parking. I tried to go in and get it, and I was rejected. So
I'll give you my placard. You can just use it whenever.
Mike's not driving.
Does everybody agree that the movie falls apart in the third act?
No.
Yeah, at the end.
Are we all in agreement of that?
No, I actually
think it
don't.
falls apart
I
5
think
minutes
the
in, but
only
that's just
fault
my-
with this
my-
movie is the random acid trip scene in it. I think if that was removed, I think this film would be just that much stronger. I think that was the only thing that stood out to me. The rest of it, I was on board 100%. I loved it. Like, the first time I watched it, I didn't know what to take from it. I literally told several people that Rob Zombie fucked my mind. And that's kind of how I took it. But this, and subsequent viewings, I really like that film. I think it's a very smart horror film. And I think overall you can kind of see that his love and appreciation for the classic horror films kind of coming through with this one, too.
Yeah.
I agree, because I don't hate the movie. I actually like it a lot. I think it's very, very smart. And the first 2 acts, dude, I fucking love those. I love it. But the last part, I think he just went a little too, he went overly artsy instead of sticking with the theme, how he was like artsy, but with telling a good story. And the last part just seemed to go all art house on me.
Right. I agree completely. Like the end, you could tell what he's going for, but it's done in such a fashion that it completely takes me out of the film. I'm like, okay, she's standing there all stoic with Evil Dead eyes, and that and the one scene when I guess she's having the full blown hallucinations, and it looks like a rock video, and she's like riding something and looking over at the camera, staring directly at you like this is a video with a smile on her face and shit. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that's the LSD scene to me. That one's the one. I think if you pull that out, it's almost a perfect film.
What about the tree midget?
I thought that was supposed to be like
tentacles.
Yeah, I thought I'm still somewhat confused. Is that supposed to be Satan or?
Maybe it's just Satan's
Yeah.
fat little cock. Maybe that's what it is. And
Okay.
she's just
That's Satan impregnating her.
yeah. Somehow
with
that's
Jesus.
Satan impregnating her in some way with her shaking tentacles.
And I did appreciate that, the mother of the Antichrist is a crack whore. I appreciated that.
Right.
And I personally really love the whole message of the film was this was caused because of gays wanting to get married. Anybody? Anybody?
Yeah.
There's one person listening going, holy shit, he's weird. Yeah, that's what people say when they look at your profile picture. On Megan's Law.
Megan's Law.
Exactly. Yep.
See, I kind of thought this one was pro bestiality.
Honey, he
honestly.
only lived 2.3 miles away.
From a school. The big question is now, these are all the Rob Zombie films. All of them.
Yep.
Now, what does he come out with next? That's the question.
He keeps claiming a hockey movie.
He's saying
Another
he
Downey
is done with horror.
At least for a very, very long time.
We know he has the one with me growing up in the city of Philly. Yes, I can't wait. And I was really surprised. And I, on a local affiliate here for the sports cable, they did it. They had a couple interviews with him, and he really is into it. So I think it's a good stretch for him. Let's see what he does with this. But when it comes to horror,
Does anybody feel like that's a slap in the face, though?
no, it's his.
Like, okay, now I'm done.
No, it's his
like,
decision.
You guys are so good. Like, I don't want you to stop making it. It's like okay, Roberto Clemente plays one season and it's like, I'm done.
Well, he's got to stretch his legs and try some other shit, too.
And plus, I heard that Sherry was really tired of acting in horror movies. Oops.
Can't he be like Dion and do action movies and horror at the same time?
Well, he directed.
Maybe a drama.
He did. He directed an episode of CSI. He wants to do more. He's a director. He is creative. I don't think it's a slap in the face. It's his right.
You do something too long in one genre, you become absolutely typecast, and I think that's what he's trying to avoid.
And you become stagnant, too, and I think he was really trying to avoid that with Lords.
Right. I agree. It's like if you're stuck in a genre, let's think of, I don't know, like John Carpenter. Okay. And
he switched it up.
He switched it up, but then he ended up going back to it, and then he came out with John Carpenter's Vampires, which is a pale comparison to any horror film he's ever done before that. And then he did, the closest thing to it is The Ward, but still, that's a predictable film, and you pretty much know exactly what's going to happen. You stay in one genre too long, your shit gets watered down.
You knew what was going to happen in The Ward?
Yeah. It like the first 20 minutes, I was like, all right, I know none of this is happening. She's a psychopath. It's all in her brain, and there you go.
It reminded me of...
I call shenanigans on that.
No, 'cause it reminded me just like Shutter Island, too. I figured that out within 15 minutes, unfortunately, thinking, ooh, I think there's going to be a twist, and if there's a twist, it's going to be this. And then I was right, and I go, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I figured that out in 15 minutes, and I just shut it off.
Hey, I was right about Oblivion when I said he would be working for the aliens. Spoiler.
That was the most enjoyable part.
See it yet, you son
Thank
of
you,
a
Rich.
bitch.
You just ruined a good movie for Mike, and that makes me smile.
Well, to me, the ward just reminded me of Identity.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it did remind me of Identity. It did.
That's a good film too. I liked it. So I feel Rob Zombie, he'll come out with something. What he needs to do. If I'm Rob Zombie's agent, one thing I would try to pitch to him is get him into a meeting. If this would ever happen, this is a dream of mine. Whether you want to use the Creep Show franchise or a new one, because these Chilloramas, this VHS is all crap to me. To me, anyway. I want to.
You didn't like Chillerama?
No, I have taste. That's probably most of the problem I had with it, and intelligence. What I really would love to see is put Rob Zombie, dare I say, Eli Roth, pick Carpenter or Wes Craven. I want to see another version type movie like Body Bags, but with 5 stories. I want to see the new director all the way to our classic horror directors doing their own 20-minute segment of a horror story. That would be a wish to me if I could just see that happen.
That's a good idea, actually.
That would be amazing, but I see Rob more going in the direction of almost like Grindhouse kind of actiony movies. Like, I want to see T-Rex. He's kept talking about that. And
yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing Werewolf Women of the SS, because that doesn't scream horror to me. That's fucking Grindhouse as shit.
That looks good. The trailer for that was funny to me, in a good way, because that's what it was meant to be.
And it has to have Nick Cage in it.
He'll do it. God,
of course he will.
He just got done. All Nicolas Cage does now is movies that have already been done. They just give it a different name.
Right. Like he did Strider 2.
How about Taken, which is now Stolen? It's the same premise.
Stolen was okay.
Yeah, when it was called Taken, with a better cast.
And a better
no, it's actually a totally different story. It's pretty good. I don't know. I don't not like anything Nick Cage does. I'm a
Put
Nick
the
Cage
bunny
fan.
down.
He really peaked with. Nobody knew it with Con Air.
You sit there and say that somebody peaked with Con Air.
I will admit, though, I like Drive Angry. It's super fun.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a fun action movie. That's what and so many people took it the wrong way. And no, I'm not saying it because Todd Farmer happens to always be nice to me and Mike. It was supposed to be what it was, a fun movie. That's the goal. Because I don't, unless I was wrong, because sometimes I get, Drive Angry confused with, I don't know, The Godfather. Like what? Just stop with that stuff. So many people do it, and that's going back to with Rob Zombie movies. Sometimes I'm sure a lot of people did it with Lords of Salem. They probably went in there with the mindset of, it's going to be the next Devil's Rejects. Going there with an open mind. At least
that's how a lot of people I think approached it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And I went in there with no fucking idea what I was going to get and left with no fucking idea of what I was watched. It took me a couple viewings to fully get that one.
It's kind of like Rob Zombie's version of Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. And fuck, it's good. It's really good.
Well, that about does it then.
Yeah, there's not much left to say.
We covered everything.
All right, so with all that being said and done, well, Rich, do you have anything in closing for us?
I like Rob Zombie's new CD. It's good.
All right, Ryan?
And Halloween 1 and 2, I think, show that he does horror very well. But Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses shows that he's a master also.
Well put, sir. Ryan, what do you got?
Well, I'll just close with taking everything in. I'd say out of the majority of his film work, Zombie's ahead. He's ahead of the game. He's had more passes than misses in my mind. And I'm not a zombie fanboy, obviously not, because if you listen to this whole thing, I kind of trashed a lot of it. But he's still a quality filmmaker, and I can't wait to see what he does next.
Awesome. Vincent Paul.
Hot dogs taste good. Oh, I'm sorry. What if that's what I left
I like
off
turtles.
with? I think what I said about 12 minutes ago probably best defies it. I forget what I said, but I know it sounded somewhat intelligent. So I don't want to follow that up, but I will follow up with I did say to the people who listen to Rabbit and Red that I'm taking a month off. You'll be hearing a special edition of Rabbit and Red with Rich and Mike coming out. You should look forward to that because they get one of one's customs. Who wouldn't it be great if he would make a Lords of Salem action figure? You know, one of Sherry Moon Zombie. Would anybody buy it? I think that's actually one. If he did one of Sherry Moon with that getup, quite possibly could sell because a lot of women who
Baby would be awesome.
Yeah, Baby would sell.
That would be you're right. That would be the first one to go with. Because is it me, or this is what I find anyway? A lot of ladies who love horror really love Sherry Moon Zombie. I don't think there's hatred. You know how sometimes girls can be very catty. I think there is a audience of women that really love Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
And it's good to see, too, because I hate when it's just the whole Rob Zombie, Sherry Moon Zombie. A lot of people don't like it because, she's in everything. It's not as if she can't act. That's the saving grace. She can act. Rob Zombie's in love, and good for him. So I never knocked him for putting her into stuff.
One thing that I noticed watching these. There was only one film where he did not showcase her ass.
That's a good point.
In every single movie, he showcases her ass, except for Halloween 2. That is the only one. Even in the fucking animated one, you get a showcase of her ass.
I'm not a big fan of her ass that much.
There's not enough meat to it. It's missing something.
Yeah, you like the flatter kind, I guess. I don't know. You like white girls.
I don't know. It's a nice ass. I mean, it could be nicer, but it's a nice ass.
It's nice and small. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a huge fan of Tom Hanks' ass in Castaway. Like, that's an ass. You go, fuck yeah, I like to be on an island. But that's me. I'm different.
I would say so.
All right, Mike, what do you have for us, buddy?
Yeah, let's hear this brilliance. Come on, stupid, spit it out.
Stop crying, Mike. We're done with the Loomis talk.
Yeah, because his life's done.
You know, Dr. Loomis. Right. No, all right, I'm done.
All right, well, all in all, I guess I like Zombie, except for the what is
you
it,
never watched it. You stop it, dummy. You never watch. You can't be a fan of something you didn't watch. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, you cannot bash a movie and say I don't like it until you've watched the entire thing.
Absolutely not allowed.
And then I can say that it's all right. So then if I go back and I watch, all right. So if I watch the entire
I'll accept
thing,
it then.
And then I go back to
Watch it at least 2 times.
You can say that you're not interested, but you can't say it sucks because you're not qualified to make that.
Okay, well then, I'm not interested in Lords of Salem or El Super Visto, but maybe I will become interested at some point. But at this point, I am not interested.
Are you?
You know what? He should
What
just
an
keep
idiot.
Halloween.
You're right. He should have no growth whatsoever. There should be no expansion in his career. None.
Be a better place.
Mike, I now regret not drinking during this show.
He can grow, but within the Halloween franchise.
Just as long as he grows contained.
Yeah.
Please grow in this box right
here. John, cut him off.
Yeah, because it's always good to grow
Contained
containedly, because that's really growth. No, it's not. They just totally made something up that makes no sense.
Yeah, moving on. For me,
All right, wrap it
I
up,
think
John, 'cause
Rob
I'm
Zombie
gonna
is a
go for it.
really interesting filmmaker. He kind of has that ability to kind of disturb you and make you feel dirty at times. And he really delivers that with some of his projects. And sometimes he really makes you think. And I'm really looking forward to see what he comes out with next. And I'm just going to close it out with Tutti fucking Fruity.